Good evening. Welcome to the Raleigh Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, August 21st, 2017 at 5:45 PM at the Town Hall on Main Street in Raleigh. Call the meeting to order, and the meeting is being audio and video recorded digitally. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll lead tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going into an executive session to discuss strategy with respect to negotiations with non-union personnel, Water Department Superintendent, pursuant to State Open Meeting Law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2. And we're also to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with Massachusetts Coalition of Police, MCOP, Local 360, pursuant to State Open Meeting Law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3. Okay. I've already called the Selectmen's Meeting to order.
I think it's my
Mark?
turn. I call the meeting of the Water Commissioners to order.
Okay, I call the joint meeting with the Board of Water Commissioners to order by a roll call vote of the Board of we need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to open the meeting with the joint meeting with the Water Commissioners by roll call.
I, Cliff Pierce.
I Robert Murray.
Aye, Joe Perry.
Call the meeting to order with the Board of Selectmen. By roll call vote.
I Ben Collin. I John Manning.
I, Mark Emery.
Okay, both boards are now in a joint meeting status in open session. And, all right, we've taken care of the Pledge of Allegiance. Chairman Perry calls for motion to go into executive session to discuss the following: to discuss strategies with respect to negotiations with non-union personnel, Water Department Superintendent, pursuant to State Open Meeting Law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, and to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with the Massachusetts Coalition of Police, MCOP, Local 360, pursuant to State Open Meeting Law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, because an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the Board of Selectmen, and to return to open session. Mr. Barry?
Mr. Chairman, could you make sure that that motion for the first item is to also to be an executive session because it will have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the
Yes.
town?
We're here to discuss the strategy with respect to negotiations with non-union personnel, Water Department Superintendent, pursuant to State Open Meeting Law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, because an open meeting will have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the Board of Selectmen.
I so move that motion.
Second.
Roll call.
I Robert Murray.
I, Cliff Pierce.
Aye, Joe Perry.
I call for a motion to go into executive session to discuss the strategy with respect to negotiations with non-union personnel, Water Department Superintendent, pursuant to State Open Meeting Law, General Law C-30A, Section 21A2, and to not return into open session.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I John Manning.
I Bennett Collin.
Oh, okay. I John Manning move pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, to go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to negotiations with non-union personnel, Water Department Superintendent, pursuant to State Open Meeting Law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, because an open meeting will have a detrimental effect on the bargaining positions of the selectmen and the commissioners,
And to not return.
and to not return to open session.
Seconded.
I John Manning.
I Bennett Collin.
I, Mark Emery.
Okay, we're now in executive session. Proclaim that Justin David Flodman, having completed the requirements for and having been examined by an Eagle Scout Board of Review, was found worthy of the rank of Eagle Scout. We urge all citizens of the town of Raleigh, its community leaders, businesses, and government officials to recognize this achievement and service. In witness whereof, I have hereby set my hand in the seal of the town of Raleigh this 21st day of August, 2017. Joseph Perry, Chairman. Motion, please.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to allow me to sign this proclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Justin? George?
Mr. Chairman, could Amy, just, now that you've signed it, put it in there?
Oh, yes. You guys, George, you go ahead. Dean.
All right.
Congratulations.
Very much.
George?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You're welcome. Keys number 68.
Awesome.
Number 40, Mr. T.
That's terrific. That's terrific. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a lot of work.
Parents, not you.
There's a lot of work for them, too. A lot more than you think.
Okay, we'll have citizens query from 7:10 to 7:15. We do have a 7:15 appointment. Maybe we can squeeze in a couple of general business. Under general business number 1, review road opening permit for Raleigh Water Department to open 97 Central Street for water main repair. This road opening permit was reviewed by the Board of Selectmen on August 7, 2017. And under our policy, the staff has signed the paperwork. We have general business number 2. Chief Scott Dumas, Chief of Police, Raleigh Police Department, Haverhill Street, Raleigh, Mass. Dear Chief Dumas, I am writing to notify you that I will be resigning from my position as part-time dispatcher with the Raleigh Police due to personal reasons. My last day will be August 9th, 2017. It has been an honor to serve you, the department, and the town of Raleigh over the past 3 years. I have enjoyed my time here and will cherish the relationships I have made with everyone in the department and the community. Thank you for the opportunity you have given me. Sincerely, Gregory Paul Williams. Motion?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
In a letter with regret?
With regret, sure.
Yep.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the resignation of part-time dispatcher Greg Williams. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. General business number 3. Town of Raleigh regarding the hiring freeze. Dear Board, I am requesting the hiring freeze be lifted in order to hire 2 reserve dispatchers due to the resignation letter received from Greg Williams and previously Paul Polonsky. I appreciate your consideration of this request. Respectfully, Scott A. Dumas, Chief of Police.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to lift the hiring freeze. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. General business number 4, to request from the town accountant Susan Bailey to appoint Heather Torres to the position of Assistant Town Accountant. Town Accountant Sue Bailey's request is attached. The Corey and 2 reference checks have been successfully completed. The last reference check is not yet complete. Does the board wish to appoint Heather Torres to the position of Assistant Town Accountant, conditional upon a favorable reference check from the remaining previous employer?
I'll move that motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to appoint Heather Torres to the position of Assistant Town Accountant, conditional upon a favorable reference check. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And, well, general business number 5. To the Eagle Tribune from John Moak, dated August 15th, 2017, press release. Please include the following press release in the next edition of all Essex County newspapers. Should you require further information, please contact me at 978-352-2800. Press release. Aerial application to control mosquito larvae on coastal salt marshes. The Northeast Massachusetts Mosquito Control and Wetlands Management District anticipates it may be necessary to conduct a helicopter application of the biological larvicide BTI to control mosquito larvae over coastal salt marshes in Salisbury, Newburyport, Newbury, Ipswich, and Raleigh during the daylight hours between August 20th, 2017 and September 2nd, 2017. The material to be applied, BTI, Bacillus thuringiensis variegae israelensis, is a natural bacterium found in soil and water. BTI is a very selective larvicide which is non-toxic to people as well as fish, birds, bees, and to virtually all insect species. BTI only affects mosquito larvae and a few closely related aquatic insects in the fly family. The BTI will be applied by helicopter flying low directly over the salt marsh. The product name of BTI is Vectobac 12 AS EPA regulation number 73049-38. Residents need not take any special precautions due to the safety of BTI and because the application will occur directly over the salt marsh in not residential areas. For further information, contact John Moak, Acting Director of the Northeast Massachusetts Mosquito Control and Wetlands Management District at 978-352-2800. That's just an acknowledgement of, we don't have to vote. Okay. The citizens' query is now over, and we'll go back to our appointment list. And we have a 7:15 appointment with David Miller to discuss locating Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts, a medical marijuana business at 300 Newburyport Turnpike. David?
Where should we present from, Mr. Chairman? Is that a close enough proximity?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Just the way you'd like it. I can sit anywhere, I can stand anywhere.
That's fine.
In the corner. You all have a PowerPoint handout in front of you? I have copies.
Yes.
You do? Okay,
Yep.
terrific.
And we had them prior to the meeting, so.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll try not to be redundant since you, well, first of all, my name is Bob Carr, I'm President of Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and fellow board members and staff for allowing us to come before you today. We very much appreciate your time and your efforts here tonight. I'll go through the PowerPoint, but I'll try not to be overly redundant since you guys have already gone through it, but for the benefit of the public, I'll go through it.
Please.
The mission and vision of Nature's Remedy, and again, I'll try not to, I'm not gonna read all through this, but I'll read, maybe beginning of some of these paragraphs. The mission of Nature's Remedy is to provide high-quality, consistently dosed, and accurately tested, labeled marijuana for medical purposes to registered patients, caregivers at the most affordable price possible. We're going to offer a wide variety of products and services to meet the unique needs of each registered patient. Much of our ability to perform these goals is because of our team and their backgrounds and a state-of-the-art processing facility and greenhouse facility that we'll be building in Grafton, Massachusetts, that we hope to be underway by the end of September. Right now, it's just a raw piece of land, and we're at the end of our site plan approval process. Going through our executive team management, just to give you an idea of who we are, a little bit of an introduction. Again, I don't want to be redundant, so again, I'll try to move that process along. I apologize. If you guys have any other ways that you'd like for us to run this, I'm good with that. Okay, all right. My background is, I'm the president and chief executive, but my background is in commercial industrial construction. I own and operated car construction for the past 26 years. I've also served on a board of directors of a Webster House. It's a nonprofit children's home for the past 7 years. I've also owned and operated, or helped operate a restaurant, 300-seat restaurant for a number of years. The reason I got into this industry is 3 years ago, before Massachusetts began this phase of its program, I immersed myself in Maine's medical marijuana program. They were one of the first to set it up in the country. It goes back as far as 1999, but 3 years ago I joined an association that represented Maine's patients and caregivers. And Maine's program is unlike Massachusetts. Maine allows its caregivers to grow for their patients, where Massachusetts is much different. They're done by dispensaries, and that's it. And it's a vertically integrated system, which we'll go over in a little bit. But I just had a first-hand ability to meet with patients and the benefits of cannabis that these patients went through and undergoing. Anything from chemotherapy to Crohn's disease to a multitude of other issues that cannabis was able to benefit. And the passion of the people that they had for these patients and the kinds of cures they were coming up. And I'm not a user, but it was heartwarming, and I just saw the light. I saw the benefit to the cannabis program. So that's why I've tried to bring it to Massachusetts. John Brady, he's here. He sits among me. He's our chief operating officer, and among his many accolades, he served as a CEO of a publicly traded biotech firm in London for 11 years. He's a pioneer in the fertilizer and the consulting industry as it pertains to cannabis. The two fellows behind me, they're our property guys. One is David Miller, who was on the program agenda, but these guys are the ones that help us, or that have helped us with, we've had meetings with some of your department heads. And these guys, they understand the importance of creating good working relationships within the community. They've helped, again, organize the department head meeting, which turned out to be an opportunity for department heads to get a chance to know us and understand our business. And I think by the end of the meeting, they are reassured of our capabilities and our commitment to operate a safe dispensary in town. We're always open for those kinds of exchanges with anybody in the community, really, at any time. On to the next page, the additional executive team management. We really do have a good core group, and part of that is Colleen Barbarita. She's our chief financial officer. She's also a trained CPA. We have our own registered nurse, Maria Langley, and she's going to work closely with patients and caregivers to create an alternative treatment plan for our patients that will best benefit our patients' needs. Jeff Davis, we have a security person that will be in touch with the chief of police at some point, but he has over 45 years of law enforcement and security experience. He also was 11 years. He was a lieutenant down in Pennsylvania. Rachel Topping is a director of cultivation, and she's also a patient. Tom Halfley is another person on our horticulture office, and he has a degree in horticulture. He worked for DuPont for many years as a grower and a researcher. He's also worked with John in other applications. And to just go through on the next slide, the RMD application process. Nature's Remedy is currently working on 3 applications with the Massachusetts DPH to operate registered marijuana dispensaries. 3 is the most allowable by Massachusetts law. Nature's Remedy is allowed to have 3 dispensaries and 1 grow operation. You could have more grow operations, but it's not feasible. So we're allowed 3, and we've taken all 3 of those applications. And one of those applications we'd like to put towards 300 Newbury Turnpike Road. Those are 2 locations that we currently have. Again, we're in Grafton, that's where our growing facility would be. And we also are in Millbury, where it's just going to be a retail dispensary, much like what we're proposing here. We put on the deck there 2 provisional certificates of registration for both Millbury and Grafton. And then our proposed location is 300 Newbury Turnpike Road. As you look at that building from your deck, it's the furthest unit to the left. It's about 2,500 square feet. We have an option for a long-term lease with the people there. Security will be our is above all with regard to us in the dispensary. We've met with Chief Dumas, with the other department heads as well. I think we connected well with them. We had a great dialogue, and we're going to we maintain strict protocols and procedures that are implemented directly by our security person, and we'll be in full compliance with state regulations. And we're also going to work closely with Chief Dumas. Any person that entering the facility will have to have an ID. They can't enter the facility without an ID. They could come with somebody else, but they cannot even get into the building without an ID. And at that point, they enter into sort of like a sally port or a vestibule, there will be a person like on the other side of the window, and they'll take their information. At that point, they'll enter the dispensary. Again, we're gonna the area, if you can picture of a jewelry store. It's sort of decked out in that way. It's the same relationship with somebody will come to the counter, and they'll look at the products, and somebody will open up a drawer, be able to show it to them. They can make the purchase at that point, and then they're escorted out the door. You can have more than 1 person in the dispensary at a time. There's no
There'll be a
regulation.
security guard in the parking lot at all times, checking all IDs, making sure people don't stay there. Their job is to move them on.
Right.
No, not allowed to consume product there, and he will check everybody's, that's the first point of entry. They will check all IDs before they're even allowed in the building.
So there'll be high definition cameras inside, and there'll be motion detectors outside as well. So we'll have the security will be intense. The other thing, at night, all the counters are cleared off. They're put into a vault at night, so there's nothing there. If somebody broke in, there's nothing to take. They wouldn't be able to get through the vault. The same thing with during the day. There's cash sweeps, as you've heard. It's a cash business. However, in Massachusetts, Century Bank has allowed, or is banking companies like ours, and they're allowing people to go in with debit cards. And they said by the time that you get around to it, we'll actually have an app for the phone so people can pay with their app. So there'll be a lot less cash on site. And again, it's a public security issue with regards to too much cash on site. The next page, the RMD security studies and media attention. We're not here really to change anybody's minds on what their perception is with what we do. We're just telling you what we do, how we do it, or why we do it. But across the country, they have found that there is no relationship between crime and dispensaries. It's actually a deterrent because of the kind of cameras that we have out. We have cameras on the outside of the building, and there's somebody out there just scooting people along. There's no loitering at all, and there's certainly nobody can medicate themselves on site as well. You have to do that in your private residence. These people are all talked to. They're our patients, so we were able to sit down and have this kind of dialogue with them and talk to them and let them know that, listen, you buy your product and you get in your car and you leave. In 2014, there was a study that found those states that had passed medical marijuana law experienced greater reductions in Part 1 offenses. So in addition, there's a reduction in homicide, rape, robbery, assault, larceny, auto theft, than states that had not passed such laws. And in addition, across the country, there's criminal drug dealers that are lacing heroin and marijuana with fentanyl. Our process is vertically integrated. So from seed to sale, we can tell you exactly where that product came from, and what plant it came from, and exactly what level of THC or CBDs are in that, and it's right on the label. So there's no chance of, and it's all, so the DPH has set very stiff regulations regarding the purity of our products. So in addition to medical marijuana studies, next slide, medical marijuana is being used as a substitute off of the wean off prescription drugs. Then the last paragraph, in Colorado, youth marijuana use remains relatively unchanged since implementation of medical and non-medical marijuana. Colorado's youth marijuana use is at 21% versus 21% as a national average. So it's right, it's the same. Typically, physicians in medical marijuana states prescribe almost 2,000 fewer doses of painkillers. Benefits to Raleigh. Jobs we anticipate at this dispensary will have somewhere in the range of 10 employees. Gifts, there's a community host agreement. We've already passed that along. There's taxes. We pay our taxes. We are a not-for-profit, but we're not a 501c3. We pay all our taxes. We're a nonprofit for the benefit of the patients we serve, and that was mandated by the DPH. It wasn't our choice, but that's what they've said to do, and that's what we're doing. But I just want you to know that we pay all our taxes and everything. So, control, taxes, control. DPH has a comprehensive security requirements. Raleigh Police Department and other town departments will have oversight on the security as well. Access, this just allows safe and reliable access for medicine for patients in the area. And responsibility, Nature's Remedy is comprised of professionals who have undergone multiple rounds of background checks and DPH scrutiny. And just in the last item is, we're here for a letter of support and non-opposition. This is what will allow us to move through the process, but this is what we're asking the board here. In this.
It's a letter of support or non-opposition.
That's right. It can be either one, and it really, in the end, it doesn't matter as we go forward whether it's a letter of support or a letter of non-opposition. It's irrelevant to the DPH and to anybody else that is looking on. One question that I'm certain that you have is that do we intend to sell recreationally? And the answer is we'd like to. The legislature will likely take a minimum of 6 months to write out the details on the adult use. So nobody really knows how that's all going to fall out. But to help circumvent that void, we have contractually agreed to in writing on that host agreement that will come before you again if we would like to sell recreationally. And that choice will be yours. It will not be ours, and we would not do that unilaterally. And we've agreed to that in writing on the host agreement. So
the host agreement would only apply for the medical facility.
it does.
Right.
Yep. So if recreationally ever came around, it would be a whole different host agreement, and that and those are much more favorable to the town as far as the percentages and financing.
Would you keep doing the medical thing, or would
Yes.
that become moot essentially? Because
No, the difference
This
is,
is introduce yourself first.
I'm John Brady, I'm the Chief Operating Officer, and I'm in charge of cultivation. And what happens is that there's no taxes on medical. So those patients who are medical will have about a 24%
okay.
lower price on their product because it's medical. There's no taxes that go to it. So the only tax revenue you receive is the host agreement and the taxes for property taxes. Recreational will have a tax of 17% will go to the state. 3% will go to the local municipality that sponsors it, and the local municipality can charge up to an additional 3% on recreational. So that's so that 23% will be tacked on to the price of the product,
Mhm.
as opposed to nothing for medical.
So it makes a difference for a person with a medical card coming in, the price will be different. So in lies the difference, and so that's why we would keep 2 counters up. You have to keep everything separate, but it would appear, again, the regulations have not come out yet, but it would appear that we're allowed to co-locate in the same facility a recreational and a medical. And we would split it down the middle or somehow, but we'd have one counter doing one and the other, one doing recreational, one doing medical. And again, there's a significant price difference, and so some people would probably might just assume do it medically to save themselves a nickel at the end. And if some people just don't care recreationally, then they would be paying more.
Mhm.
Same product.
My background, just to give you a point of reference, that I remember my elementary training by the nuns in the Catholic school, that you're very distrustful of anything in the media, and I have seen on the TV the marijuana, the miracle cure, several times, and I just had a natural distrust based on the background, but I was able to talk to a friend who had pancreatic cancer, and it was because of the treatment with the marijuana that extended his life. So it was quite an eye-opener for me, that not only, you see these presentations, but they are real. That it
If
can
you
happen.
ever are very interested in looking, there's a video on YouTube about a person. They video him. He has Parkinson's disease, and it almost brings tears to your eyes, because he opens the door for his doctor. They're videoing it, and he shakes. He can barely talk. He walks very deliberately, and they administer it under his tongue. It's a liquid, and of the cannabis, and within 10 minutes, it has a timer. He talks perfectly fine. He walks. There's no shaking, and it's not staged. I mean, the doctor that's doing this has many of these videos. So, yes, it does. I'm with you. I grew up with the nuns. That's why I have bad writing, because I was beaten with the ruler on my knuckles. But
Yes.
you can yes. The medical benefits are staggering sometimes. I was shocked at how the difference when I saw that video.
And that's the non-psychoactive part of marijuana. This guy is not high. He has a body high.
It's called
Right.
the CBD.
CBD is the part of
Yeah.
the plant that, and part of our processing will be to extract those CBDs and separate them from the THCs and offer people a different relationship in medicine.
We will offer a high CBD content one for people that have things like Parkinson's or seizures is a big issue that it helps alleviate. And some need the psychoactive for calming, and so we will offer both.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm familiar with a person that had a stroke, a brain tumor, and the only thing that helped her was medical marijuana. In fact, she fought hard for the passage of the law to do it. So I mean, it is an eye-opener. I got a law enforcement background myself, in which we used to chase people around it.
Right.
Took the drug and carried the drug and sold the drug. So I mean, it sounds like to me, I think it's something it's here whether we like it or not.
Right.
And I think if we can be of help to some of our residents and so on and so forth. My question is, in reading the literature, that you are starting out everywhere. I mean, you don't sell anywhere right now, right?
No.
We're just building. We break ground in about 30 days.
So I guess my question is, what is your background? You're bringing this business to Rowley. Can you give us a little idea of what your background in dealing with this, or how do we have confidence that you're selling us a proposition here? And I just want to have confidence that you have experience or the ability to carry through what you're actually telling.
Well, I'll start quickly, because I know
Sure.
John will want to pipe in here. So my background is construction and building, and following guidelines and specifications. And the rule book on this process is this thick as far as what they have with the DPH. So that's my thing, is building, creating this, almost being the general contractor of the business that we're creating. I'm pulling in all these experts from all over. John is one of those experts, so he has that background, but we've pulled all the parts together in addition to John, cultivation experts, people that know how to dispense, nurses. So we have that as well. But John has a background. He's also built a growing facility out in Denver, but I don't want to let him.
I've been in agriculture 40 years, and last job I was the CEO of a publicly traded agricultural biotech company based out of London. I did that for 13 years, retired. My wife passed away from cancer, and I wasn't allowed to use marijuana for chemo. And so I did that and retired, and my son said to me, you have all this agricultural experience, marijuana is, coming to the East Coast. So we started a fertilizer company selling biotech fertilizers that got the band back together, all of us older guys, and we started this company. So I built a grow out there. Have then worked in several different growing operations, helping them as a consultant. And then Bob knew my son, my son was looking at buying a house that Bob had built. And so Bob was trying at that time to get into the business in New Hampshire, so Bob and I became partners. We have probably one of the finest growers in the United States. His name is Tom Halfley. He worked for DuPont. He's classically trained. He's a horticulturalist. Most of the people you'll find in this industry grew 6 plants in their mother's basement and sold them to their friends. Tom has run gigantic greenhouses. This is tiny. Tom has run million-square-foot greenhouses, has built them, and he was my head grower in the New York operation where I was a board member. So Tom is very experienced and very adept at what he does, and he's a classically trained horticulturalist. We can grow. There's no question that we can grow it. Selling it is a whole different story, and for that we're working with a company that's out of Colorado that's run some of the best dispensaries in the United States, and they will be coming out and setting up our dispensary operations, bringing in all the SOPs for managing it. We'll be training our staff. We'll be on site for the first 6 months at our locations, getting everybody up to speed, understanding all of those things. So we are spending, to give you an idea, we're probably spending $12 million when it's all said and done to do this. This is not a hobby. We have investors that are entrusted us with $12 million of money to build this, and they put it in because we know what we're doing. If you met most of the people in our industry, I don't know if anybody's come before you, but they're generally, they're stoners that grew in their mom's basement. We are all business guys. I don't use it at all. I don't even drink. Bob doesn't either, so our staff doesn't. So this is a business, this is a pharmaceutical grade material, and we're going to run this like a factory down in Grafton. And the facility that we'll build here will be an absolutely stunningly beautiful facility. It'll be very warming, welcoming, and we all have to remember it's about patients that are coming in here. These are people that are sick, and so and there is a stigma, no matter what we say, there is a stigma around marijuana. And so we want a place where people don't feel like, they're being judged. We have a chief medical officer, we'll have conference rooms that can make them feel comfortable, consult. All our staff will be professionally trained in what products to use for Crohn's disease or, whatever ailment people have. So I think, our backgrounds speak for us, the resumes that we have.
Yeah, I think that's pretty well satisfied me anyway on that. But the other thing was this, in terms of security, you've talked to the police chief, you said?
We have, yes.
And what kind of reception did you get with him?
I don't want to speak for the chief or
No, I
the other
understand.
department heads, but I thought the reception was good. I think if you reached out to the chief, that...
Did he bring up any issues of security that he kind of wanted you to do, and you...
I think he
you kind of
realizes that
agreed
the security that we're being required to create in this building is over the top. I mean, it's like we're housing plutonium in there. And they do this because of the perception that people have and what we do. So it can't be any safer. I mean, from the street, you won't be able to see in the window, or even if you try to see in the window, you'll never be able to see any product from outside. Everything is locked away at night. Security cameras, motion detectors, everybody's trained for emergencies.
Yeah, as long as it seems like you got a good relationship with him.
We indeed do, because, and that's
Put
our
a lot of
first
faith
stop.
in his ability, and he's got a nice young department there with a lot of good people.
Chief
so-
Dumas is great. I mean, and that's our first stop. I mean, that was our first stop. It is our first stop, and without the chiefs, I wouldn't bother coming here and wasting your time, because he's the one that has to deal with this.
We've been in several towns where the police chief hasn't supported it, and we haven't even gone beyond that. It's just us. We want to be here because people want us here. We want to be good neighbors. We think financially we can help the town and be a benefit to what's done in the town. And so if the police chief isn't going to endorse us, or the city managers, we stop right there and we move on.
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we did get an email from Chief Dumas in July, and I did give that to the board.
Yes.
It's not printed out in your packet, but we did.
No, I've seen, we've seen it, I just wanted to see
He has thoroughly reviewed
what the
this.
reaction
Yeah.
is of
Would be
what's
happy
done.
to give, if you would like us to print that now, we can have the chairman read it. if
No,
you
that's-
want.
I recall
recall.
reading it, so
Okay.
in fact, I think he did mention that your security seemed to be over the top. In that regard, but I just wanted to have.
Far greater
I
than
wanted you
CVS,
I
I'll
wanted
tell
you
you
to say
that.
this, because obviously people watching this on television are gonna be concerned with that. And
Sure.
I guess the other thing I want, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Chairman, I think when the town voted on the marijuana question, I believe I think it voted for it, but it was pretty much 50-50 if
I think that's right,
Recall
for both
correctness.
the medical and the recreational.
Right, so I mean, whether we vote for it or against it, half the people are gonna like us and half the people are not like us, so. Well, it makes it easier. In other words, if the town voted overwhelmingly against it, I would say, well, we really have some serious thinking to do with it. When I look at the economic benefits and, it's gonna help the shopping plaza there, I'm sure, with people coming in and coming out. Business generates new business for everybody. And, like I say, having experienced some marijuana stories from people that I know, I don't really have a problem with it.
And to that end, we're a little bit invisible. We're not allowed to advertise. You'll never see handouts or flyers, and we'll have the signs as Nature's Remedy, but there's nothing on there that would indicate that it's a medical
marijuana.
marijuana
No leaves,
facility.
no
There's
metal,
leaves.
no marijuana leaves,
Right.
no green crosses,
Right.
nothing.
And that's all DPH. That's what they've required that. So it's not, we can never change our minds and okay, we decide to advertise. We can't. It's we can go, we can tell people what we do, but we can't go out and actively recruit customers.
I had a question about the 1.5% you're proposing to pay the town. Is that right? 1.5% of sales, is that right?
Yes,
Is that a requirement, or is that something you want?
it's not a requirement.
Not a requirement of the process, of the state, I mean.
Nope,
Yeah.
it's not. Nope, it's just it's an offer. It's it's a gift, I guess.
Mr. Murray,
All set.
any other?
No, I agree with everything that's been said here. I have no problem with a letter of support or non-opposition.
Bernie?
Yeah, could you say a little more about how you recruit and screen the people who will actually be working in the facility?
Well,
The retail facility.
The retail facility, certainly. I mean, our objective will be to hire locally, assuming that they've got the background, and if to the degree that we
Background
can train
meaning?
them. Well, the background for sales, and we'll be doing quite a bit of training as well. So as long as we can train them, and they're I don't know. Do you have anything to add to that?
Do they have to pass a background check on that?
Yeah, the background check is probably
They'll have
the
to be
most significant
fingerprinted.
thing.
They have to be fingerprinted, they can't have felonies, it's a fairly rigorous process.
Already.
What's that?
They check everybody
Oh,
involved in the
I was
process.
assuming you guys, but
No, I think everybody that touches or works in a marijuana facility has to have a background check. They can't have any felonies in, they will need to be fingerprinted and sent to the FBI. So they can't have any of those offenses. They can't have had a marijuana offense, even if it was a misdemeanor. So it's a pretty rigorous screening process that doesn't just stop at guys like us, it goes all the way down the line. And the cameras, some questions you may not have asked, but other towns have asked, is they worry about it going out the back door. You know, how do we prevent slippage out there? And everything is under a camera. The only place you can move in that facility without a camera is the bathroom. So there's cameras that watch every one of your moves.
Much like a casino.
Yes, very much.
That goes-
Exactly, and they may have them in bathrooms there, but we can't. So,
Okay, I'd like to move the discussion along, or have a motion?
I'm satisfied. I'll give you a motion to give them a letter of support.
Second.
Actually, if I could just, maybe the zoning board of appeals, right? We have a meeting to discuss this on the 30th.
The zoning review committee.
Zoning
But
review
that's
committee.
for recreational, that has nothing to do with the medical aspect of it.
Okay, okay.
The other thing is,
Well, there is a meeting
and I
scheduled.
think it's reflected in your materials, you would also be required to get a special permit from the planning board before you could open, correct?
Yes.
You would acknowledge that.
I'll make the motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, John.
thank you very much, we very much appreciate it.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Good
luck. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
If you have, if gentlemen have any
Appreciate it.
questions about what we do,
Thank you very
please
much.
call us, and we're happy to sit down and show you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, there would be no liability on the town because they wouldn't do that.
Okay, we have a 7:30 appointment with Len Charney to discuss his
Hello.
interest in serving on the Historical Commission and Historic District Commission.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sarah?
So, I am really excited to present to you this applicant, Mr. Charney. He comes to us very enthusiastic to serve on both commissions, the Historical Commission and the District Commission. We have a vacant seat held by architect Phil Witkowski, and I'm super thrilled that I go architect for architect because Mr. Charney has over 30 years of experience in the field of architecture, both residential and commercial development, and restoration work as well.
Oh,
So
excellent.
he met the members, what's today? 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, they were really thrilled. He's got good resume.
Could you tell us why you're interested in serving on the
Certainly.
commission?
My wife and I moved to Raleigh last summer, and I quickly got involved with, saw things that were going on in the town. Sarah has filled me in. I'm interested in serving the town in capacities that make sense with what I've done. I haven't served on a board. I've worked with planning boards and zoning boards, town boards from the work that I've done. I've done a number of historic preservation and restoration projects commercially in the past. As I said to members of the commission, I'm particularly interested in projects where you're balancing progress in the sense of change in the city, in the town rather, and understanding values that the town has and things that need to be considered. So it's not a black and white.
Right.
This discussion and what I've heard and what I've seen, that's the process you go through. And I feel like that's something I could contribute to, and I'm interested.
Excellent, excellent. It is kind of a balance between, you have a town that's 370 odd years. I was on the 375th committee, so we've passed that. But, and you have new people, new structures going in, and we do want to be careful to maintain the integrity of the town, preserving our heritage. Another question?
Are you familiar with the open meeting law?
Not specific.
Okay, but you're willing to get familiar with it.
He will be well schooled.
I'm sure I'll receive several tutorials.
Right.
Yes, all new members get a package, but of course, he'll go through.
That's something that we all have to be knowledgeable in and responsible for. In other words, ignorance of the law is no excuse when it comes to that, or the ethics.
I've been duly warned.
Another benefit to Len is he's outside of the district. He resides outside the district.
Oh,
and,
that is good.
You know, this past calendar year, we have had a boom of activity, and most of our members live within the district.
Within,
so
right.
it's always nice to have that outside, so we
Sure.
to have less of a conflict. So
Right.
it's great.
Yeah, to follow up on Selectman Pierce's question, that there's a state ethics requirement online, and you've heard,
So you go online.
you don't have any objection to taking
No,
that?
no, I mean,
David, do you have any questions?
No, I've read through the resume you gave us, and you sound like you're well qualified. In fact, you might want to look at a couple other jobs we have open.
Yeah.
I was told this might happen.
So, I mean, we're not gonna force your
It's
hand
the
tonight,
beginning.
but, you know, it's very difficult these days to get good
Right.
qualified people to join boards and be on commissions
Right.
and be involved. People just seem to wanna come into town, live and go out to work and not get involved. And yet, if something isn't quite right, they're very quick to complain and cause problems for everybody, so. I would say we welcome you aboard once we vote, and, you know, please.
Don't talk past the sale, David.
And I look forward to having some new faces and some new people involved, and I think it's being with your background and especially this particular commission is these two boards. It's a lot of it's common sense. I mean, there's rules and regulations, but there's also you're dealing with people that
Exactly.
lived in town a long time or wanna, you know, so it's a matter of negotiations and coming up with solutions that are satisfactory to everybody. So I welcome
Mr. Murray?
your application.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay. Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve Len Charney to serve on the Historic District Commission and Historical Commission. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Actually, my
Appreciate it.
condolences.
Now you wait.
No, you'll be
Thank
okay.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
We gotta keep it interesting anyway.
Congratulations.
Well, I don't doubt that. Welcome aboard. Thanks very much.
Thank you,
Take care,
everybody.
thank you.
See
Thank you,
soon.
sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, take care.
Okay, we have, I'm getting almost back to time, but still a little late. We're 7:45 appointment, Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association Health Benefits Trust Representative Larry Tereso to discuss the MedX 2 Retirement Health Insurance Plan. Larry,
Yes, hello, everyone.
glad to meet you.
Hi. Larry
How are you?
Tracy.
Yep.
Hi, quick.
Joe Perry.
Cliff Pierce.
Hey, pleasure.
Hi.
Pleasure. How are you? Thank you for allowing me to join you today. Yeah, so I've been asked to just come in and just provide some education more than anything else about an option that's being considered. As we all know, healthcare costs continue to spiral out of control. I'm not breaking any news in that regard. An option that we've brought to the table, just for consideration really more than anything else, is an option for retirees. When I say retirees, I mean retirees of the town that are Medicare eligible, currently enrolled in Medicare and buying supplement through Maya. The option that we're presenting for consideration, I have a comparison that I'll hand out, really offers absolutely no change in the medical plan whatsoever. The change exists solely in the prescription component of the medical plan. So it's probably best that I hand out this comparison and we kind of go through it.
Mr. Chairman, there are copies of that in your packet, and you did get that
Oh,
back
okay.
on August 8th as well.
Thank you.
So if you wouldn't mind, I'm gonna,
Here you go.
Give Larry a copy back there.
us Larry's got to stick together. Okay, so And we'll allow this discussion to take any form you'd like it to. I'd kind of just start off with an overview of the plan. And there's some financials down at the bottom. So you've been a member of the Maya Trust for some time. Our job is not only to deliver you renewals, but to try to deliver solutions to the extent that they not only benefit the town, but also benefit the employees and the retirees. We consider this kind of a win-win, if you will. In this middle column, we'll provide, there's an overview of your current plan, so your retirees today that retire from the town upon attaining age 65, assuming they qualify for Medicare, meaning they've paid into enough quarters to qualify, have MedX 3. MedX 3 is a plan that it's just kind of the benchmark in the marketplace, works around the country. As long as your doctor accepts Medicare, retirees can access that plan. The plan on the right is also a MedX plan. Primary difference with this plan is that it brings in this what we call a PDP, a prescription drug plan. That is a plan that's been designed with Blue Cross and the federal government. Everything on the medical plan stays exactly the same. All the copays are the same. Does anyone lose a doctor? No. Can someone live in Arizona and still enroll in the MedX plan? Absolutely yes. So there are absolutely no differences with the medical plan itself. So I'll kind of bring you down the plan today. Your plan today on MedX works nationwide. This plan works nationwide. Your current plan today maintains a fiscal plan year. It renews on 7/1. Because MedX 2 brings in the PDP, because the PDP piece always renews on a calendar year, the plan itself has to renew on a calendar year basis. But as you go down through physician office visits, emergency rooms, inpatient hospital admissions, you'll see that the benefits are absolutely identical. There's no difference whatsoever until you get all the way down to the prescription drug plan down at the bottom. Today, after paying a calendar quarter payment every quarter, retirees have full coverage for generic prescriptions, but then they pay 20% for brand name prescriptions today. And folks that choose to get their prescriptions through mail order have a $2 generic copay and have a $15 brand name prescriptions. You know, the prescription rate or the fulfillment rate on mail order is fairly low with seniors. They have a tendency to want to get their prescriptions at their local pharmacy, and that's certainly their prerogative. When you look at the PDP, we have a prescription drug plan administered by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts. There is no deductible plan. There's no deductible on the plan. And instead of full coverage for generics, they have a $10 copay. And then instead of 20% coinsurance for brand name, their copay is actually capped. It's set at 20 or 35. So you can imagine a scenario where most seniors get many of their prescriptions on a generic basis at zero cost. They go to CVS, they go to Walgreens, they go to Rite Aid. If they're picking up a generic, there's a $0 copay. On the new plan, you can imagine there's a $10 copay. So that's a big difference for seniors, right? So 0 to 10, if you've got 3 drugs, 4 drugs, you're talking about a $40 increment monthly. Not insignificant. However, many of your seniors also pay that 20% coinsurance. So many of your seniors are also taking expensive drugs where they're paying 20% of the cost of the drug. You don't hear about that as often, but it's a real liability for seniors. This PDP has that 10, then they have that static copay of 20 or 35. You're going to have plenty of seniors that are going to really benefit from that scenario. So that takes a look at the plan itself, but then what about the finances of the plan. So our current plan today, if we look at the in-force premium, we have a $635 per month premium rate. And that's the gross rate before retiree contribution and town contribution. It's not 50%, but for very simple math, let's say it was 50%, we're talking about $316 per entity contributing to the cost of the plan. When you look at the MedX2 with PDP, you see a very significant difference. So if you think back to that scenario where you have a senior, maybe they have 3 generic prescriptions where before it was $0, and now they have 3 generic prescriptions that are now $10. Well, they're out of pocket $30 or say $40 if it was 4 prescriptions. But when you see how much lower their contribution is to the plan, 99% of the time, net, the seniors will come ahead. 100% of the time, no. Right? We can't always predict that because prescription utilization always changes too. Seniors may go from 2 prescriptions a month to 4 prescriptions a month for 6 months, and then next year they may go up to 5 prescriptions and then back down to 2. And prescriptions are always getting changed. But you can kind of, when you do the math and you back into it and you say, well, wait a second, if a senior is going to save, instead of 3 something, it's less than 2. If they're going to save $100 a month in contribution, that will more than offset the incremental charge of having some out-of-pocket exposure on the generic prescription copays. My objective is to, when I look at some of the communities that have that contribution somewhere around 50, as much as I like to deliver solutions for the towns themselves, because ultimately that's my job, I also like to take care of the seniors as well. I see that in most scenarios we find that this plan delivers kind of a win-win, if you will. A natural question might be how and why. How do we have the medical plan exactly the same and it costs X? And now we have the medical plan exactly the same and it costs much less than X. And the difference in the answer to that question is, so today the town receives some what we call RDS money, retiree drug subsidy money from the federal government. Maya files every year for that money on your behalf, and we get that money and we basically return it back to the town. These PDP plans essentially that are designed with the federal government kind of have the subsidy already baked into it. So when you go to PDP, the town also loses the RDS money. And the retirees kind of gain it because right now that subsidy is going back to the town. And some towns that have moved over, they've kind of said, well, this is also a way for us to kind of share the RDS money that we've been getting back with the retirees. So from a lot of different perspectives, it's really a win-win. Is it a win-win 100% of the time, every month, for everyone included? No. Is it overwhelmingly a solution? Yes. So at a really high level, it's kind of an overview of the program.
You're right in that it does, it affects individuals differently. When I came home from the hospital after having my operation 8 years ago, I was on 14 medications.
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
going to hurt.
Exactly.
But now that I've been reassessed and now I'm down to 4, so that makes a big difference.
Right, exactly.
And you're right on the savings there. Anybody else comment?
So
Larry?
Just a couple of things maybe for the audience. Does the individual make the determination on whether they go with the new thing or is that the town?
It would be a replacement to the existing plan, and ultimately the town makes that decision. But we've worked close enough with the town over the years to know that we really try to have kind of a collaborative discussion around how we move forward. Ultimately, we wouldn't move forward without kind of a decision from local government as to the next step. If we were to move forward, and that's an if, it would happen for 1/1/17. We would not only ask, but we would frankly require an education session for retirees. Because we know we need to give retirees an opportunity to ask questions. Usually a rollout includes myself and 2 other folks from Blue Cross, and we're in a room and we explain the plan to retirees. Folks want to know about their individual prescriptions. We give them an opportunity to ask questions on the side as we look up their prescriptions to see how they're impacted. But that's education, right? That's after the decision is effectively made.
But it is a town plan, and it would have to be adopted, and it would be for all of the town.
Okay, so we'll say, as an example, if Raleigh were a very sickly town, this would not be to their benefit, as opposed to Raleigh being a very healthy town, i.e. having less prescriptions and all.
Yeah, it's going.
Yeah,
It
you
would
can't
be-
really, no, you can't really make that claim. So remember, because the sickly is
Yeah, he's just still just
is a hard
explaining
thing
it.
to identify, right? So the medical plan itself,
Yeah, I
all the
haven't voted on
medical
anything yet,
claims
but he's just
will
explaining it
come in
still to the
exactly
board.
the same way. They'll get
She wants
processed
to-
the same way. There's
Oh.
absolutely no change in that
So you-
component. The only piece that's kind of getting taken out, if you will, is the prescription mechanism on the existing plan comes out and a PDP gets plugged in. And that's really the only difference. And not mortality, morbidity has no impact on the success of the program.
Excuse me.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that was Treasurer Karen Summit calling in. She's away in Indianapolis right now, and she could not be here tonight, but the selectmen have received the memo that she and I submitted to you for strong consideration, and that would require, this is the retiree health insurance plan for the town of Raleigh retirees. Many of the communities, and I believe the school district, have already switched in this general area to the medics too, because of the benefits that we can, the amount of money we can save on the premiums is quite significant, and
We would be the last community on the North Shore to adopt it.
Really?
Yeah. Within Maya. We have most of the North Shore as members of Maya.
So it's just for retirees?
It's just for retirees.
This is the
This
retiree.
has absolutely no impact whatsoever on active employees or early retirees that are not Medicare eligible yet. So we're just talking about just the medics plan. And not to mention, it also has an impact on, as you have your GASB 45 folks come out and do their OPEB studies, instead of plugging in X number, they're plugging in Y number, which also has an impact on those tables as they forecast out into the future.
yeah, Mr. Chairman, and that's one of the many reasons we're asking that the Board of Selectmen strongly consider this. There is a January 1st start date, and in order to enroll, if we do make this switch, what we're asking for, Karen and I, would be the board to consider it, or if they could take a vote tonight. If not, they could defer that to September 11th, but we would like to have a informational meeting with the retirees sometime in early October, because the program has to be transitioned.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. So because the PDP is heavily coordinated with CMS, Center for Medicaid Services, they have very strict timelines. They don't care about
Right.
Maya and what
Right.
we have to do. They say, well, if you're gonna do this, this is the date you have to do it. From a drop dead date as to when we're implementing it, we would have to kind of, wheels hitting the ground kind of in October, which if you just kind of take a few steps back, usually requires a decision in sometime in September, so you can get notices out to retirees to come to an information session. For whatever it's worth, Maya has no specific interest in the decision. We're just trying to bring solutions for retirees and communities that are out there.
Do you have any idea of how many retirees would be affected by
Well,
that?
I believe it's about 30.
So 31
About
on
30?
the
Yeah, we
bottom.
currently have 31.
31?
And just so there's no confusion, I have a rate down here that's
Selectmen's
for
office.
1/117. I want to highlight that it says 396. And the
Oh, sure.
reason why I have it for 1/117 is because it's a calendar year.
Calendar year for the.
I don't
program.
exactly have this rate for 1/118. It
Yeah,
will be
that-
slightly different. I expect it to be a little bit higher than this, because there's a trend factor, but I definitely expect the 7/117 rates to be much higher on 7/118.
Mr. Chairman, I have Treasurer Collector Karen Summit on the line, and she's on the speakerphone. Karen, would you like to make some comments at the approval of the selectmen?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Karen?
I would just like to say that I support this 100% because it's a benefit to both the seniors and the town.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I think that when you look at costs of medical care, the prescriptions are what
Yeah,
skyrocket. I mean, another story from a friend that my wife was talking to at the Council on Aging. They're not a town employee, but the doctor prescribed them a drug. He went to the pharmacy. When he got there, the copay for the drug was $600.
Yeah.
yeah, so.
Well, obviously, he told the guy, or the pharmacist, I'm sorry, I can't afford $600.
Yeah.
I can't take that drug.
So
And I mean,
imagine-
the drug is we just watch television every night.
Yeah, no,
All these drugs are coming out, and all
You
these
can't
brand
watch a
name-
baseball game without 10
No, I mean,
commercials.
and
Yep.
they,
You know, that's just the reality.
any seniors, they're
so
always
dope.
appealing to the seniors. It's,
Yeah.
You know, all
Yep.
this stuff.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just it's a no-brainer.
And-
There's no cheaper, drug care is never gonna get cheaper.
No.
No.
If we can handle it, this is a good way to,
And we always want to
Yeah,
do what's
yeah.
best for the retirees, especially when they're on fixed income. I think intuitively and naturally we default to that difference between the 0 and the 10. It's really easy to focus on that. But in the scenario you just brought up, there are seniors out there that are paying 20%
Oh,
of the
absolutely.
$600.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
And-
Yeah, I have a friend he has one prescription that's over $1,000
So,
per
you do the math, and
unit.
and a lot of folks take Enbrel. Enbrel's averages out to $3,600 a month. 20% of that, when you have rheumatoid arthritis and you choose between pain or $600 a month, for some folks it's a real expensive decision to make.
And we realize too, there's no plan that's gonna, that 100% of the people are gonna be happy with, because every family, every situation is different, everybody's medical situation.
And I
So all
have
we can
that-
do is try to benefit the most people with this cheaper plan as we can, or most inexpensive plan that we can, to benefit them, because they're on fixed incomes.
Right.
And this will help the town in our endeavors too. It's a win-win for everybody, and
That's
and-
right.
And it's really, like I said, there's no 100% solution for everybody, so we try to benefit the most.
And that a long time ago.
Yes.
Are we ready to take a vote for the plan, or do you want to?
I'm
Mr.
ready
Chairman,
to vote.
I would like to say that I would cover this, be in favor of this, but I will recuse myself,
Yes,
because I am already in the program.
Okay.
You
Thank
want to
you.
make a motion, Cliff?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we make the switch to Medics 2 with PDP.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to go to Medics 2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Did
Thank
a
you
nice
very
job
much.
presenting that.
Great.
That was very good.
Thank you. I know it's
Thanks,
sensitive
Larry.
stuff. Thank you.
Not you, Larry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Good night.
Good night.
Karen.
Good night.
Nice meeting you.
Bye,
Good
Karen.
night, everybody.
We can go home now?
Actually,
Good night.
she put me on the program.
Oh, really?
Have a good night, everyone.
Retired.
Thank you, Larry.
Drive carefully.
I I had to go to
That's
Medex.
the first having a telephone.
And I didn't have anything for the rest of it.
Okay, Larry?
So I asked her, and she put me right
Tim
into-
Gorman, actually.
Tim,
It's three.
all right.
It's worked out
Good
very
evening.
well.
We have an 8 o'clock appointment with Tim Gorman, location manager, and Josh Snyder, assistant location manager, Katie Ford, 2017 ZDF Enterprises, to discuss filming movie scenes in Raleigh. Tim?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Josh was not able to make it this evening. I'm going to pass out a little handout. We're hoping to do some filming this Wednesday on some lonely dirt roads in Raleigh.
Give me one more for the gentleman that's not here. Thank you.
I have extras if anyone else.
This
Not-
was on the
it's
email?
not- Yeah, it was, yeah. Thank you. We were working with my colleague Josh.
You can sit if you want.
Oh, thank you. My colleague Josh reached out to the police department and talked to Captain Sedgwick as we were looking for some lonely roads to film on, and he suggested Stackyard Road out towards Nelson Island. And when we went out there to take a look, we fell in love with it and started wandering around and found a couple other spots. Redgate Road in particular, as it kind of on the Newbury border as it makes its way over the train tracks there. And what we're hoping to do is film a couple scenes on those two roads, as well as a very short scene on Main Street, basically on Redgate where it hits Main Street. Our movie is kind of a classic road movie. Family buys an RV and goes on a little vacation, and hilarity and drama ensue. Parents take their kids out, 2 teenage kids. They of course don't want to go. The mom and dad start fighting. It's basically a romantic comedy. It's a Sunday night movie for German television. We've been filming on the North Shore for the last 4 years. This is our 17th film, and it's a very small production. For a movie you can't get much smaller, about 30, 35 people. Actually on the streets at that time would only be about 15 or 20 of us. The rest would be based at the Todd Farm. We're renting space there to park our work trucks and kind of use that as a base camp, where the flea market is staged on the weekends. And we would start at Redgate and film most of our day there, probably from about 8 to 2 in the afternoon, and then move over to the intersection of Redgate and Main Street, and then finish up on Stackhouse Road. And basically just have the RV parked there and film scenes with the family, both inside and outside the motorhome.
Just one correction,
Sure.
Stackyard.
Oh, Stackyard, sorry, did I say Stock? Sorry.
Stackyard.
I said Stackyard, sorry.
Redgate, after you go over the tracks, becomes private property.
Right, and we'll be on the Main Street side
And
of the track.
that should be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have requested from the police department to have 2 details with us.
Yeah.
They would be with us for the first part of the day, and then when we move to Stackyard, we would just have 1 officer with us because it's
You going to
pretty
do
quiet.
anything with Patmos?
Pardon?
You going to do
Patmos.
anything with Patmos Road?
No, not at all. We did
Okay.
look at Patmos Road, but it seemed to be a little more populated, and
Yeah, it's owned by the people down in Newburyport, that, it's, what's the name of that? They work down there anyway.
is it the Parker River folks or the?
No, it's
The refuge?
part of the reservation that's there. So they have signs out front, it's meadows and things like that. So you have people coming and going out of there all the time, just walking down through the trails and things. So,
Well, one thing I certainly want to make clear is that anyone, certainly residents or hikers or bikers or whatever, will be free to come and go.
yeah.
The way our business works is it takes us forever to set things up, and then once the camera's actually rolling, that would be the only time we might ask someone to wait. But it really just depends on, where the camera's positioned. And that only is, a minute or 2 at most that the camera's actually rolling. We did put out flyers to the residents on both Redgate and Stackyard. I was there earlier this evening and talked to a few people. And also at that intersection where, if you're going north on Main Street on Route 1, I guess it's 1A, right?
Right.
Main Street 1A. And then it peels off onto Redgate. There are a couple of houses right there that I also pass by.
Yeah, they used to be the town dump, so. That's why it's still.
Oh,
on that
that's
road.
Redgate, okay.
Right across from Tendercraft there, you know,
Yes.
Yeah.
so it's right, that split there. I think we'll be pretty low impact, but we of course want to be good guests.
And it's
make
just
that-
Wednesday.
It's just Wednesday, just for that one day.
Mr. Chairman, we do have in your packet, the packet we provided you.
From the police.
We
Yep.
have the
Yeah.
report from Captain Sedgwick, and any approval made this evening would just ask that these requirements be included in this.
Yep.
Sounds good to me. Raoul will
Me
be
too.
on film again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like a worthwhile
Beautiful
proposition,
town.
and we thank you for coming forward. We hope that our scenes satisfy you.
Thank you, sir. It's a beautiful town, and we'd love to come back again. I know I've been here as a tourist a few times and I've enjoyed my time here, especially my meals at the Village Pancake House.
Okay,
We have a
I'll
motion?
make a motion to authorize the film.
Second.
With the attachment of the police department request.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your help.
Okay, I think I've done all of general business. We'll go down to old business. Old business number one, we have an update on MBTA bus service during the commuter rail shutdown and Wi-Fi proposal. The Beverly Drawbridge project is nearing completion. Weekday train service has resumed, and weekday service is scheduled to resume on September 30th, 2017. The Wi-Fi monopole installation as proposed has been canceled, and the MBTA is reviewing this matter. Vice Chairman Bob Snow will not give an update tonight on this matter, as he is not here tonight.
Mr. Chairman, there is a news article in your package that shows Vice Chairman Snow at that MBTA control board meeting
Yes.
earlier this month, providing the testimony on behalf of the select.
We're very happy to hear that the MBTA did reverse their vote and decided not to go ahead with the monopoles. And that we thank Vice Chairman Snow for being there and providing testimony to support that rescinding of that vote. Okay, old business number two, an update on the Pine Grove School project. Discuss and approve the Mass School Building Committee Project Scope and Budget Agreement, PSBA. Discuss and approve the advance of funds in lieu of borrowing form. There are a number of documents that need to be signed by Chairman Joseph Perry as the CEO of the town for this project. Please vote to authorize Chairman Perry to sign the following documents. 3 originals of the project scope and budget agreement, 3 originals of Exhibit A to the project scope and budget agreement, total project budget, 3 originals of Exhibit A to the project scope and budget agreement, proposed schedule, and 3 originals of Exhibit H, reimbursement rate certification, 3 originals of the amended feasibility study budget from Pink. These documents will be available for the chairman to sign tomorrow in the Selectmen's office. Please vote to sign the advance of funds in lieu of borrowing form. Treasurer Collector Karen Summit said that this is needed so that we can pay Dora and Whittier for July's invoice. These funds will be repaid after the borrowing in September. Please sign this form as a board this evening.
Give you a motion, Mr. Chairman, to sign the 3 originals of the first 5 bullets that you have
Second.
there. Yeah, PSBA documents.
Thank you for allowing me to sign all of those documents.
That's why you get the big dollars.
Motion has been made and seconded to allow me to sign the MSBA paperwork. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, I guess. And we have a motion.
Motion, Mr. Chairman, to sign the advance of funds for the treasurer, for Doran Whittier's July invoice.
Mr. Chairman, that's signed by the full board, the borrowing document.
Right. That's on the
Yes,
last
the
page.
full board will sign that.
Motion has been made
Second.
and seconded to sign the advance of funds in lieu of borrowing form. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, going on to old business number 3, an update on the fire station and police station addition project. We are revising the site plan and finishing the bid documents. The Public Safety Building Committee is meeting next week. A report on this project will be available for the next Selectmen's meeting.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up there so people understand, this project is moving along as scheduled. We were supposed to have a meeting this morning, and we had trouble getting a quorum, so that we postponed it, but everything is progressing very well at this point.
Thank you. Moving on to old business number 4, vote to authorize Chief Water Treatment Operator to sign the state revolving fund closeout loan documents for the water treatment plant project. The State Department of Environmental Protection has requested that the town close out the water treatment plant project. The Board of Water Commissioners is requesting that the Board of Selectmen authorize Chief Water Treatment Operator Rob Swinowski to complete and execute the state's contract completion certificate and project completion certificate.
Need a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to allow Rob, a vote to allow Rob Swinowski to complete and execute the certificate on the water treatment plant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, old business number 5, update on Didax Building, 395 Main Street. Town Council Judy Pickett has outlined the process the Board of Selectmen needs to follow, attaches a copy of her memo and copies of plans. The Light Department has also expressed an interest in occupying the Didax Building. Please see attached memo. And as I understand it, Didax has proposed to donate their building located at 395 Main Street to the town at no cost.
Mr. Chairman, if we don't have to take any action tonight on this one.
No, but I would like to point out, going back to the original letter from Mr. Termini, and this is one thing we do need to clarify with him, is that his letter says the possible donation of the Didex building. He never says the parcel that it rests on, parcel A, is shown on one of those plans, so we do need clarification on that. But one other thing that Attorney Pickett and I came up with is and this is, you have a plan, it's actually an assessor's map that it's easier to see, the roadway that comes in to access the Didec parcel and that, the open space area that they're interested in developing. That roadway is actually an untaxed parcel at this point. It's not, we were looking to see if there was a connection to parcel A for that and the other one. So there are some things we do need to look at regarding that access, and if it's an easement, that would be something that we would need to do or talk about having that discussion with the property owner. But we do need to go to town meeting. That was something that we assumed, and that's correct. The town council also recommends the standard inspections, and that would obviously, we would have to do a Title V and a licensed site professional assessment, which is very typical when we acquire municipal property. But we would also need to look at that driveway piece and get some clarification on how that access is going to work.
Chairman, I'd just like a little, maybe at our next meeting, this is the first time I've seen this. I might have got an email or something.
We were still trying to get some clarification
Right,
up
so I
through the
just-
weekend on
you know,
this.
We can put off a discussion tonight, probably wouldn't be too much benefit. But
Yeah, I did-
I'd like to
first
see
time I've
what
seen it, too.
what
Yeah.
she said, and obviously the town administrator's part of it. Unless he clarifies that, that subsequent meeting to tonight would be better discussed.
Our next meeting would be
Yeah,
September 11th.
Right. There's no hurry, no super hurry with it.
No,
I don't wanna jump into
Sure.
this and say, yeah, we're all in favor, but
No.
until we know
Exactly.
what pitfalls might there be, and also that people that own Didacs understand that there may be some things that they have to do based on this stuff that they may not want to, I don't know, but I mean,
Right.
we certainly need to clarify all these issues before we really get into a deep discussion.
Need some
It
more
has
investigation.
definitely has potentials, but
Mr. Chairman, could I at least get back to Mr. Termini and get clarification that it's actually the building and the parcel that it currently sits on
Right.
that we're looking at as parcel A on the tax map?
yeah, I got the impression in talking to them at the buildings up there that day that I was there, that they were obviously talking about this lot that the building
Yes,
sits on.
it's
But it
just
would all
not,
have to
That was
be,
my
it's
assumption.
not in writing,
Right,
and,
mine too.
yeah, you got the legal wording is
and then
important.
the driveway is a
And the
separate
driveway is
lot.
an issue because they
It's
have
an
to get
untapped-
access to the back land too. So,
Exactly.
yeah, that's,
Okay, it's
I
not.
have no, yeah, I think that would be
Okay, just so we
reasonable.
can get some questions answered before that.
yeah, we're still
Yep.
basically, the consensus is I think that we want to do it if we can. But we just need these questions answered and determinations made. But
Yes, and then there's one other, there's a possible easement, if you look on that first map, to the adjacent property, in different ownership.
Right.
And it's hand-drawn with, getting into, the lots that are in, Deerfield Lane.
Yep.
Okay.
And actually, if you look at Judy's letter, there's a footnote number 1, and that talks about Lot 2 is composed of 17.50 acres. The 17.5 acres might allow for an extension of the roadway and additional building lots. If you look at the plan, Lot 2 is listed as 1.72 acres.
Oh, I see that.
You did.
No, I see that down at you.
I know, I did.
Wow. Right under lot 2A on the, right here. On that one. If you look under lot 2A, 7.879, and then it says 1.72 acres. But I think if you add that into lot 2B, they must be separating out the lots.
These are some older maps that we, the assessor
That's where the
located for us.
17.5 comes out. If you add the 15.78 and the 1.72.
Well, it says that the covenant is somewhat inconsistent with the subdivision plan that depicts the lot too.
Right,
So, obviously, it's.
something that we
Yeah,
have to be
something
aware
It
of.
may have been, originally, it may have been the whole lot.
Yep,
And after they built the building, it came up to
something we have to be aware of.
17.
And I would imagine we probably have to survey that, our lot.
She would recommend a survey and a title
Right.
Yep.
work. So there are some expenses that would be made in connection if the selectmen decide to go forward with that, to do some of the inspections and
Right. Yeah, I think we can.
survey work.
Okay. All right, if we can put that,
Okay.
that discussion off, that would be great.
Yep. So we'll put that on the, possibly for the September 11th.
That's right, and I will, Mr. Termini is anxious to get a progress report. I'll let him know that the
Right,
board
we're-
is still
we're
very much
basically-
interested and
Still interested.
going to get some clarification for those questions.
Okay, moving on to old business number 6, update on road materials and services contracts. Assistant Town Administrator Natalie Lovett has mailed out the notices of award in 10 highway bid contracts. We are waiting for the contractors to return the signed contracts along with their payment and performance bonds and proof of insurance. Given the volume of contracts to be signed, the selectmen should vote to authorize themselves to sign the contracts as they come into the office so that the work can be started in a timely fashion. Motion?
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to allow the selectmen to sign the contracts as they come into the office. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's go on to new business number 1. Approve the agreement with USI Consulting Group for General Accounting Standards Board, GASB Statement 75 Actuarial Valuation Services for Post-Retirement Health Benefits. Town Accountant Sue Bailey is requesting that the Board of Selectmen approve the contract with USI Consulting Group to undertake the town's GASB 75 actuarial study of retiree health insurance benefits. The auditors and the financial institutions used for borrowing by the town require this to be done. Please vote to authorize Chairman Perry to sign the service engagement agreement with USI Consulting Group for this work.
You get a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Motion has been made and seconded to approve my signing the service engagement agreement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, new business number 2, letter from Attorney Donald Greeno regarding Chapter 61A land off of Emily Lane. We received the comments from the Conservation Commission, Principal Assessor Sean McFadden, and the Planning Board on this request. These departments have not objected to the release of this land from Chapter 61A. Taking into consideration the comments from these departments, the board may wish to release the Chapter 61 land as requested by Bruce E. Tompkins, trustee of the Tompkins Desjardins Trust. If the board wishes to release this land, please vote to sign the attached waiver of all first refusal options for this land.
I'll make the motion to release the land.
I'll second it. Just one question, Cliff. Does this, on the surface, this appears that this is gonna give them access to all kinds of backland.
It could, yeah, there's a lot of wetlands back there,
But I
so.
mean, it seems like that's the plan.
That's,
Or could be the plan.
I think that's the long-range plan. In fact, they've recently proposed a development off of Weathersfield Street.
I saw
Next to
that's got
Dodge Reservation, I can't remember the name of that road, that
Got
dirt
an
road.
under agreement sign on it
But,
now, so.
right, but they've got a plan on that development to extend that road further, and I
Right,
suspect that it would come out of this lot.
Okay, I mean, there's nothing we can do.
No,
really anyway,
there isn't.
It's just a matter of, just a question, that's all. Okay, yeah.
Motion?
I thought I made the motion.
Nice.
Do we have
Yeah.
a motion second?
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have minutes from July 10th, July 24th, and August 7th. And they're all Board of Selectmen meetings. Is there any comments or questions on any of the individual? I'll take a motion to approve
I give a motion for July 10th.
July 10th.
Second.
We have motion has been made and seconded to approve the meetings from the Board of Selectmen meeting for July 10th, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I give a motion for July 24th.
Motion for July 24th.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the Board of Selectmen meeting minutes for July 24th. All those in favor say aye.
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 I give a motion for August 7th.
Motion for August 7th.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes for the Board of Selectmen meeting for August 7th, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're at announcements. Rowley residents have free outdoor pool access at the YMCA's Rowley campus at 390 Weathersfield Street. Resident pool access hours are Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Attention, all Korean War veterans who served in Korea. The Eastern Essex Veterans Services District is issuing the Korean Ambassador for Peace Medal. Please contact the Veterans Office at 978-356-3915. Information on the Pine Grove School project is available on the town's website at www.townofrowley.net. The town has the following vacancies: Cultural Council, 2 seats; Historic District Commission and Historic Commission, 1 seat; Open Space Committee, 2 seats; Fence Viewer, 3 positions; Wood, Lumber, and Bark Inspector; Zoning Board of Appeals, 1 seat; Zoning Board of Appeals Associate, 2 seats; Parks and Recreation Committee, 1 seat; Deputy Shellfish Constables, 2 positions. For more information on these positions, please contact the Selectmen's Office at 948-2372. The Rowley Food Pantry is in need of donations. Donations can be left at the Rowley Public Library. The food pantry is open on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and on Thursdays from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Motion?
Give a motion to adjourn.
Second.